I'd like to call this June 3rd meeting of the Hampton School Board to order. Ms. Bowers, will you call the roll?
Mr. Harper?
Here.
Ms. Henry? Mr. Kilgore?
Here.
Mr. Pearson?
Here.
Mr. Samuels?
Present.
Ms. Smith?
Here.
Ms. Mugler?
Here. Let the record show that all of our school boards are present at tonight's meeting, along with members of the division leadership team, our division superintendent, Dr. Linda Shiflett, school board attorney, Ms. Nancy Reeves, and our clerk, Carolyn Bowers. At this time, I will turn things over to our student liaison, Malcolm Richardson, to lead us in the pledge.
Actually, tonight, leading us in the pledge and giving our invocation is Amber Woody from Sims Middle School. She's an 8th grader. She's really excited about the high school experience. She's ready for the change and ready to meet new people. Her favorite subject is civics. She believes it's fun to debate, and I think that's pretty fitting, seeing she wants to be a lawyer when she grows up. And what she loves most about school is the teachers, and she says, and I quote, that they are the foundation of everything good about the school. Can I have a hand for Amber Woody, please?
Mrs. Mugler, Dr.
You can push it up.
Thank you. Mrs. Mugler, Mr. Pearson, school board, and Dr. Shiflett, and the members of the community. My name is Amber Woody, and I am an 8th grade student at Benjamin Sims Middle School. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will now read a poem that I wrote just for this special occasion. It is called From Here. Education is the key to many things in life, so we need to do anything to make it right. In other countries, school is a foreign word. We should just be glad that our prayers were heard. We are the ones with everything to lose, yet we are the ones who always want to choose. The adults in our life are the foundation. They give us the bricks to build up our education. One day when we take their jobs, they'll know they'll prepare us right, no time for sobs. When life gets crazy, we'll remember where we came from and how everyone around us saved us from being dumb. I don't know where I'll go or who I'll be from here, but I know the end is nowhere near. There's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and it'll go on forever as long as there's a show. Thank you.
Amber, don't go away. You can stay right up there for just a minute. Thank you very much for being with us tonight and sharing those words of inspiration. Did you bring anyone with you tonight?
My mom.
Your mom's here, would you? And so what high school are you headed to?
Hampton High for the IB program.
Fan club already. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for being with us
You're
tonight, and
welcome.
good luck to you. Have
Thank
a
you.
great summer.
You too.
Okay. Also tonight, we are going to be serenaded by the Hampton City Schools Steel Drum Ensemble under the direction of Jackie Statina. We've never had this happen before in the school. The Hampton City Schools Steel Drum Ensemble is a city ensemble composed of middle and high school band members from Davis Middle School, Eaton Middle School, and Bethel High School. The ensemble has performed 4 times throughout in the area since spring break, and most recently at the Virginia Arts Festival International Pan Fest, where they received a silver rating for their high performance. Without further ado. I know the crew hates it when I Shanghai things, but we're bringing this director out so she can introduce all these students, because we like the students to be out in front of us, not behind us, so we want you to know who all these wonderful kids are.
Well, and unfortunately, we can't fit right here. As you can see, there's a whole lot of us. But thank you very much for having us. We've been very excited to perform, and let me introduce the ensemble to you. Over here, beginning on our right, this is Jashawn Taylor, who is an 8th grader at Eaton Middle School, plays the tuba. Then next to him, we have Kayla Jones, who is a junior at Bethel High School and plays the clarinet, and she's been in the group since she was in the 7th grade. Then Deshawnda Gray, who is a 7th grader at Davis Middle School. She plays the flute, along with another Davis Middle School student, 8th grade Markenia Gatling, also a flute player. Then we have Isaiah Vini, a 7th grade student from Davis Middle School who plays alto saxophone. Phelan Gonzalez, an 8th grade student from Davis Middle School who is a percussionist. Then we have Donovan Burns, another 8th grade student from Davis Middle School and also a percussionist. And then on the end there, we have Giovanni Brown, who is a 7th grade student from Eaton Middle School who plays the tenor saxophone.
Thank you so much for sharing your music with us tonight.
Thank you.
Well, that was a nice way to kick things off tonight. At this time, we'll move on to our formal recognitions. I'll call on our Executive Director of Marketing and Public Relations, Mrs. Diana Galata. She'll be assisted tonight by School Board Member Mrs. Phyllis Henry.
Tonight, we are very proud to recognize the valedictorians and salutatorians of our 4 high schools. We will begin with our salutatorians, and we will begin at Bethel, which actually has co-salutatorians for the class of 2015. Gavin, where are you? Gavin Baker, come on up. Gavin has a GPA of 4.32, an SAT score of 1,800. His passion is simplified in one word: percussion. Gavin is a drumline captain, tenorline captain, and president of the National Honor Society. His academics have included New Horizons Governor's Science and Technology Program, dual enrollment, and AP courses. He looks forward to playing in the Norfolk State University Spartan Legion Marching Band on the drumline next year as he studies in computer science in the Honors College. Congratulations.
Gavin, this says congratulations, obviously, from the Hampton City School Board, and it's signed by our chairman and our superintendent, but we are immensely proud of you. Top line product. Are all these folks going to stay up here?
Yes.
Okay, then you just...
Did you want to say something? You were coming toward the microphone.
Oh, no, I'm going with the flow. I guess just thank you everybody who came out tonight. Thank you all the other salutatorians, and valedictorians. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, God, everybody. Thank you.
Just stay up here. Stay up here. Sharing the stage at graduation will be Dominique DeBose. Her GPA is also 4.32, and her SAT score is 1670. Dominique enjoys playing musical instruments to include the violin, guitar, and piano, studying languages such as Russian and Spanish, and likes to longboard. She's a member of the Bethel Principals Advisory Board and serves as a secretary for both the National Honor Society and Model United Nations Club. Additionally, she is the captain of the BHS soccer team. She's a member of her church youth orchestra and serves as a vacation Bible school teacher assistant. She will study at the University of Virginia in the fall to double major in global studies and Russian. And her future dream is to become a foreign service officer.
Congratulations. 'Congratulations. I won't grab your hurt hand. All right, Congratulations, Dominique, from all of us on the board. We're just so proud to have this product to show off, aren't we? That's right.
Okay, I heard we had crabbers in the house. All right. The salutatorian for the Hampton High Class of 2015 is Nora Chen. She is graduating with a GPA of 4.65. She's an International Baccalaureate World School Diploma candidate. She's earned multiple academic honors, including membership in the National Arts Spanish and Mu Alpha Theta Math Honor Society. She served as the Vice President for the Senior Class, Vice President for Spanish Honor Society, Regional President and State Vice President for FBLA, and a class officer since her freshman year. When do you sleep? Nora is a member of Kietz and the International Club and also participates in feeding the homeless, food and supply drives for the Salvation Army, and Adopt a Spot. Nora will be attending the University of Virginia with an interest in studying business management or finance. Congratulations.
And on behalf of the school board, let me add our congratulations. We're very proud of you.
Okay, Kickotan Warriors. Kickotan salutatorian for the class of 2015 is Krisha Aspili. Krisha has earned a grade point average of 4.49 with an SAT score of 2060 and an ACT score of 33. Did I get that right? That's not a misprint. Krisha is completing the biological science strand at the Governor's School for Science and Technology and serving in a mentorship at the Hampton University Biomedical Research Center, where she's investigating drugs to treat breast and lung cancer. She's a member of the National Math, Spanish, and Science Honor Societies and serves as council leader of the English Honor Society and treasurer of the Music Honor Society. She serves as the drum major of the marching band, plays clarinet, the symphonic band, sings in the choir, works as a piano accompanist and music teacher, and dances with several performance groups. She's on that's not all. She's on the varsity tennis team and consistently ranked as one of the top players in the district. She's dedicated to church service and is a part of the youth group, lecture team, and arts and environment committee. Krisha will study computer and biological sciences at the University of Virginia in the fall.
Again, congratulations, Krisha Aspili, salutatorian, Kickotan High School. Thank you to all our...
No, we got one more.
One more.
Phoebus.
Phoebus. I keep counting 1,
That's
2,
all
3,
right.
4, but I didn't forgot there were 2 more.
We can't forget our Phoebus Phantoms. Where are they? That's all right.
We're in my Phoebus Gold.
Okay. Where's Sadie Ullman? Sadie here? Okay, well, we're going to talk about Sadie. We're going to talk very good about her. Sadie is graduating with a GPA of 4.38. She scored 1440 on the SAT. As a Phantom, Sadie has played field hockey for 3 years and is captain of the team this year. She is also captain of her horseback riding show team. She will head to Huntington, West Virginia this fall to attend Marshall University. She plans to pursue a double major in geology and English for a career as a paleontologist. Sadie's dream job would be working at the Smithsonian, and we hope she gets there. Congratulations, Sadie. And before you all go, if your parents, teachers, principals are here, please stand so we can give you a round of applause. Okay, now it's time for our valedictorians. For Bethel High School, the 2015 valedictorian is Sierra Smith. She is graduating with a cumulative GPA of 4.49 and an SAT score of 2030. She has earned multiple recognitions, including Honor AP Scholar, National Achievement Scholarship, Outstanding Participant, National Academy of Future Physicians, Medical Scientist Scholar, and the Early College Scholar. While she plans to work as an emergency room physician, Sierra is very interested in biological research and plans to study various diseases and their symptoms. She is an active member of the Foreign Language Club, National Honor Society, and Scholastic Bowl. During the summer, she's a junior volunteer at Riverside Regional Medical Center, where she helps employees in the emergency room and surgical department. She's president of her church youth ministry, chaplain of the youth choir, and a member of both the family ministry and missionary ministry. She has received more than $200,000 in scholarship offers. I think we can applaud for that. Receiving a full academic scholarship, Sierra will attend Howard University in Washington, D.C., where she will major in biology pre-med to pursue her career as an emergency physician. Congratulations.
All these certificates say achievement at the top. I think that's kind of an understatement for these students. Congratulations from the Hampton City School Board, Sadie Ullman, salutatorian. That says, in misprint, guys, misprint, valedictorian, #1 student.
Here, actually, this is yours. That's all right.
Well, I said the wrong name too, Krista. Okay, let me try again. See, I go by the paper. Sierra Smith is, in fact, the #1 student at Hampton High.
Bethel. Bethel.
No, look.
Okay.
We're going to start over. I had too much excitement tonight. Sierra Smith, valedictorian, Bethel High School. I can read, and it does say achievement. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, up next is our crabber. The valedictorian for Hampton High School class of 2015 is Wyatt Booth. There you, Wyatt. There he is. Wyatt has a GPA of 4.68 and SAT score of 2090. During his years as a crabber, Wyatt has participated in the Science Bowl team, Superintendent's Advisory Board, the IB Advisory Board, French Club, Art Honor Society, and National Honor Society. Wyatt has held leadership positions as the senior class treasurer, captain of the Virginia Junior Academy of Science, and served as a student representative to the Hampton Sister Cities Committee. He is also a representative for the Congress of Future Medical Leaders. He has also been deeply involved in community service, working with the Boy Scouts of America. This busy scholar also played tennis and found time to play the piano and participate in literature and photography competitions. During his summers, Wyatt has been certified in dental radiation safety and has participated in the Summer Governor's School for Medicine and Health Sciences. Wyatt is a 2015 President's Volunteer Service Award recipient. His academic and community engagement has earned him several scholarships. He's the 2015 Coca-Cola Scholar, an Alpha Chi Alpha Achievement Community Scholarship winner for the state of Virginia. He is also a Virginia Commonwealth University Presidential Scholarship recipient based on his merit in academic achievement, leadership, and community service. Wyatt has earned over $600,000 in scholarship offers. VCU has offered Wyatt guaranteed admission to the prestigious dental program. He will attend VCU this fall. Congratulations.
Now I'm going to do what Ms. Galata said. I'm supposed to read this, so I'll get it right. Achievement, congratulations from the Hampton School Board, Wyatt Booth, valedictorian, Hampton High, with our very best wishes.
All right, Kecoughtan Warriors. The class of 2015 valedictorian at Kecoughtan is Allison Chow. Allison has a GPA of 4.53 and scored 2130 on the SAT, for which she is recognized as a National Merit Commended Student. She is an AP Scholar with distinction. She earned the bronze medal in the National Spanish Examinations, and she is a member of the National Piano Federation. She's an active member of Key Club, National Honor Society, Math Honor Society, Spanish Honor Society, and serves as the Council Herald of English Honor Society. In addition, she spends her time as a volunteer at the Air and Space Center, assisting with youth programs and summer camps. This fall, Allison will attend the University of Virginia and will be majoring in computer science. Congratulations.
Congratulations from the Hampton City School Board, Allison Chow, valedictorian, Kecoughtan High School. And the thing you all have to notice from all these is nerdy children are not these kids. These are very brilliant, brilliant scholars who can do everything. Congratulations.
Okay, Phoebus Phantoms. Phoebus High School valedictorian is Jessica Cordner. Jessica has a 4.39 GPA and a 1720 SAT score. She's currently in her second year at the Governor's School. During her time there, she has leveraged 3 internships at NASA Langley Research Center across 2 research projects. Okay, listen to this, that explored the aerodynamics of airfoils and how to generate electricity from UV rays and X-rays to power satellites in deep space. Whew. As an active Phantom, she has participated year-round in 5 varsity sports throughout high school. She was on the varsity volleyball, golf, and scholastic bowl team for 2 years. She spent 4 years on both the varsity swim team and the varsity softball team, and she served as captain on each. This fall, Jessica will attend Old Dominion University, where she plans to major in computer or electrical engineering. Congratulations.
Okay, congratulations from the Hampton City School Board, Jessica Cordner, valedictorian, Phoebus High School. Please, all of you, join me in a big round of applause for all these brilliant students.
Parents.
Please, all the parents, stand up. You were standing anyway. Let us applaud you. Parents and faculty. Parents always send us their best students, but these are really, really best. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Now it's time to unveil the Hampton City Schools Teacher of the Year. But first, let's meet our teachers of the year at each level, elementary, middle, and high school. Come on up, Leanne. Leanne Sorrell is our elementary school teacher of the year. She's currently a special education teacher at Langley Elementary and has been with Hampton City Schools for 12 years. She has always believed that every single child is capable of learning and succeeding. Leanne was selected for the Model Site Classroom as part of the grant awarded to HCS from VCU's Autism Center for Excellence and the National Professional Development Center for Autism through the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. She was trained on using and implementing evidence-based practices in her classroom and was then able to model these practices for other teachers throughout the division. She also serves on the Langley Inclusive Practices team, providing learning opportunities for staff and students and creating a school community that enhances positive relationships among the students with disabilities and their non-disabled peers. She is the author of a blog where she shares her experiences working in a classroom that primarily serves children with autism. She's been invited to speak at regional conferences and has been successful in procuring instructional resources and materials for her classroom and school. She was recently selected to participate in the 2015-16 HCS Leadership Cohort through ODU. Leanne does her best to develop a relationship with each student that is as unique as they are. Each relationship she develops with her students is based on the belief that they can learn. As a teacher, she believes that she is tasked with building collaborative relationships with students, parents, and colleagues with a common vision in mind to maximize the learning for every child, every day, whatever it takes. Congratulations. Ramona Jackson, come on up. Ramona is the middle school teacher of the year. She is currently a special education teacher at Lindsay Middle School and has been with Hampton City Schools for 6 years. She builds personal relationships with our students and their families in order to inspire them through consistency, mutual respect, and genuine concern. She believes that family members who identify a teacher's compassion and concern usually become involved in a child's education. She is an active member and participant in the positive behavior interventions and support team. Ramona was awarded a grant to examine the effectiveness of non-traditional instruction on the mathematics performance of middle school students, which involved interactive strategies as compared to traditional techniques. She has presented at regional events and has authored instructional songs and PowerPoint presentations to reinforce instructional concepts. She's produced the school talent show for the past 5 years and has served as a sponsor of the drama club. She has also authored and produced a play, which was performed by the drama club at Lindsay Middle School. In addition to volunteering her time at school, she initiated a community service project in honor of her late husband. Favor, Firearms Victims Organization, provides support for the survivors of violent crimes by offering scholarships, counseling, and other assistance. In the years since her husband's death, Ramona has earned her bachelor's degree from Norfolk State University, her master's degree in special education from Old Dominion University, and is currently pursuing her PhD in special education. Her heart's desire is for the students she serves to succeed, and she is planning a project that will reinforce, address, and satisfy their needs. Curtis Blau. Did I pronounce that correctly? Okay. Curtis is the high school teacher of the year, and he is a math teacher at Hampton High School. He's been with Hampton City Schools for 3 years. His philosophy is that if he has the power or ability to help others, he should. He looks for ways to help, and when there's something that needs to be done, he jumps in to do it. Curtis's goal is to give students all of the tools they need to feel safe, confident, and stimulated so they learn and love math as much as he does. His classroom environment is more like a lab experience than a traditional classroom. His students learn by incorporating technology, learning games, group discussion, and collaborative practice to reinforce his direct instruction. He serves on the Positive Behavior Interventions and Support Team and Sunshine Committee, which I would like to know a little bit more about the Sunshine Committee at Hampton High. He helped the science department learn how to utilize a new form of graphing calculator as well as the active view for the Promethean board. He jumped at the chance to pilot iPads through the e-Backpack grant this year and has asked to serve as a lead teacher for helping staff with the implementation of the one-to-one initiative next year. In addition, he volunteers his time at school basketball games as the announcer and at other school events such as the talent show, other student performances, and awards ceremonies. He's recently completed his master's degree in curriculum instruction with a specialty in mathematics and teacher leadership and plans to begin the national board certification process. Congratulations. For those of you who weren't with us at the teacher banquet, a few weeks ago we actually had a teacher banquet where we recognized the teacher of the year from each of the schools, and at that time we named the top 3. And then tonight, in just a minute, we're going to name the Hampton City Schools Teacher of the Year, and I'm going to try to cue a drum roll. Cue drum roll.
And the Hampton City Teacher of the Year for 2015 is Ramona Jackson.
First, I want to address the panel who interviewed us. Dr. Haynes and the others, to let you know that that was a very challenging interview. And I know you two agree with that. But you know what? That interview didn't end when I walked out of that door. I mean, it really provoked a lot of thinking and a lot of ideas, and I'm just so glad to be standing up here, and I'm honored to represent Hampton City Schools. It was a long journey. I hear all the time that you have to go through things to get through and to get to things. So I'm standing up here now, I'm excited. I don't know what else to say. However, I know that life has happened to me in this journey, and when life happens to you, you have to be able to push through. You have to be able to keep fighting. You have to keep believing. And that's what I did. And from the words from my late husband, he always said, when things happen to you, do what you gotta do and roll on about life. And that's why I'm standing here today, because I rolled on about life. And I plan to be the best of the best and represents every child, every day, whatever it takes for Hampton City Schools. Thank you.
Congratulations. I think what you got with the interview made her think, and like all good teachers, she's trying to think of ways to be an even better teacher, and that's why these outstanding teachers are representing all of our wonderful teachers who want to do even more every year for our students. Thank you so much. Congratulations. I know you all have a support group out here. Would the families please stand and let us applaud you? I know you're happy and proud. Okay. Congratulations, honey.
Congratulations. You can tell from their bio why they were our top 3 in Hampton City Schools. I'm now going to turn the microphone over for a brief moment to Mrs. Martha Mugler, who will recognize our school board liaisons.
Thank you, Mrs. Galata. I will have to bring this down about a foot. I even wore heels like you, too, Diana, but I still can't hold a candle. Don't we have great students and teachers in Hampton? So incredible. And we have just a couple more recognitions tonight, and we want to recognize a couple of really special students, particularly special to the school board, because they've served this year as student liaisons to the board. So I first would like to call up Naya Gray, who's been our student liaison alternate, and I'll... Let me tell you just a little bit about this student and how she was selected to serve as our alternate liaison. She is a member of the National Honor Society, a varsity cheerleader, a member of the PTSA. She also works as a teen mentor, a youth volunteer at the YMCA, and is active at her church. Naya has also been inducted to the French, English, Math, Social Studies, and Science Honor Societies. She has been awarded the William and Mary Scholars Scholarship, the Henry Kelly and Fred Lutz Scholarship, the Rotary Club of Hampton Scholarship, and she is graduating from Kecoughtan High School with the highest of honors. She will be attending the College of William and Mary and study neuroscience in the fall. And so, Naya, in recognition of your service as a student liaison to the Hampton School Board 2014-2015, Naya Gray, congratulations. And our student liaison, Malcolm Richardson, can I have you come on up and let me tell you a little bit about him? Malcolm has been present, I think, at every single board meeting all year long. And he, outside of his work with the board, serves as a volunteer for the Scholars Program, the Alzheimer's Association. He was named a top achiever by the Hampton chapter of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, and has been recognized as a scholar by the Hampton Roads Committee of 200 Plus Men Incorporated. He is graduating this June with the highest of honors and an International Baccalaureate certificate from Hampton High School, and he will be attending Virginia Commonwealth University to study mass communications with a focus in creative advertising. Join me in thanking Malcolm Richardson. In recognition of service as a student liaison to the Hampton School Board 2014-2015, Malcolm Richardson. Thank you so much for your service. Do we have families of these students here with us tonight? I know Naya's mom, can we give you all a hand? Thank you for being with us tonight.
Family right here.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. I'd like to ask my fellow board members to join me up here. Oh, join me in a minute. We have a video, I forgot.
Don't play the video yet. Tonight, we celebrate the legacy of our superintendent, Dr. Linda Shiflett, who will be retiring after 41 years at the end of this month. Dr. Shiflett has been the superintendent here since 2009. We have a tribute video that we would like to show prior to a special presentation by the school board. Roll video.
I've had the opportunity to have a wonderful career in Hampton City Schools. I've learned from many great leaders that came before me, and I hope to continue in the tradition of academic excellence and really making this division move even greater strides forward. I'm proud to present to you our best practices for STEM Career Cluster in Hampton City Schools. I want to say a very special thank you to each and every one of you, because I know the sacrifice that you often have to give with some of your family time, because these people do such tremendous things for our children, and very often off contract time. So I do want to tell you a very special thank you. Dr. Johnson, as always, you've done a wonderful job emceeing this event. And you know, tonight will be our last academic excellence banquet for both of us. But you know, we're going to be cheering on the sidelines for Hampton City Schools always, even in retirement, or as I call it, adult graduation. Stand in front of me.
She wants us to hide her, but we're bringing her out front. So we have just one more special recognition for our graduating superintendent. Come right out in front. And yeah, don't read what I've got to read to you. You're cheating.
I need to be prepared.
I know. The school board has a resolution, Dr. Shiflett, in recognition of service to Dr. Linda Madsen Shiflett. Whereas Dr. Linda Madsen Shiflett has served the school board of the city of Hampton for 41 years, beginning her career supporting the students, parents, and staff of Hampton in 1974 as a business education teacher at Pembroke and Bethel High Schools. And whereas during her lengthy career with the division, Dr. Shiflett has worked as a teacher at a number of division schools, as cooperative office education coordinator, as resource teacher for staff development and vocational education, as director of applied academics, as executive director of applied academics and support services, as assistant superintendent for secondary instruction, as deputy superintendent for instructional support, and finally, as superintendent from August 2009 until her retirement in July of 2015. And whereas her accomplishments include implementation of the division's Performance Learning Center, fondly known as the PLC, a credit recovery program for at-risk students that has become a top-performing PLC in the Commonwealth. And whereas, as superintendent, Dr. Shiflett helped implement groundbreaking programs in the division, including implementation of the one-to-one computer initiative, creation of the campus at Lee, a center offering multiple alternative education opportunities to students and adults, and expansion of the career academies at each of the division's high schools. And whereas Dr. Shiflett's loyalty and dedication to the students of Hampton City Schools has always been foremost in pursuing her daily work, truly modeling the division's mission, every child, every day, whatever it takes. And whereas Dr. Shiflett has always treated the students, parents, staff, and citizens with the utmost respect and caring attention in her various positions with the division over the years, and whereas Dr. Shiflett has been recognized on multiple occasions by her peers in the Commonwealth and beyond as a mentor and accomplished education professional, and is the recipient of the Education Excellence Award from Virginia Tech, the Vocational Educator Award of Excellence from the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce, the 2006 Administrator of the Year from HAEOP, and a 2009 Darden College of Education Fellow at Old Dominion University. And whereas Hampton is proud to recognize Dr. Shiflett as a distinguished product of Hampton City Schools, having graduated with honors from Kecoughtan High School in 1970. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the school board of the city of Hampton, in recognition of Dr. Shiflett's continuous longstanding commitment to Hampton City Schools and her distinction as a Kecoughtan High School alumna, hereby dedicates the auditorium at Kecoughtan High School. I'm not done. We dedicate this auditorium to her service and direct that the auditorium henceforth be named the Linda Shiflett Madsen Shiflett Auditorium with honor memorializing at that site. And further, it be resolved by the school board of the city of Hampton that this resolution dated June 3, 2015 be spread upon the minutes of the board and publicly presented to Dr. Shiflett. I want Dave to read the last sentence. I think I can do it. It's as an expression of high esteem in which she is held by this board and this community. Signed by all the members of this school board this day, June 3rd, 2015.
She ain't finished hugging yet.
And so at this time, I would like to entertain a motion from my board.
I move that we adopt the resolution dedicating Kickingham High School and it herefore being known as the Linda Madsen Shiflett Auditorium.
Second. There you go. We're all second.
It has been moved by Mrs. Smith and seconded by Mr. Harper that we name the Kickingham High School Auditorium in honor of Dr. Linda Shiflett. All those in, oh, I have a clerk to do that. Madam Clerk, would you call the vote?
Mr. Harper?
Aye.
Ms. Henry?
Aye.
Mr. Kilgore?
Aye.
Mr. Pearson?
Aye.
Mr. Samuels?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Moss?
Aye, motion carries. And so,
Well, this has certainly been, Jack and Elle, come on up here. I want you to see the reason why I'm retiring. Come on up, quick, quick, quick. Come on. Elle, come on. This is my grandson, Jack. And I want to spend time with him before he decides that he doesn't want to hang around with old ladies anymore. And that's his little sister, Elle, back there. But I have to tell you, the 41 years, I just can't believe it has been that long. It just seems like yesterday that I began my career in Hampton City Schools. And honestly, never dreamed of being anything more than a classroom teacher. And, throughout my career, I hope that I have instilled a love of education and a love of this community to all with whom I've come in contact with. I am just overwhelmed by the outpouring of support that I've received since November. And it seems like that was just yesterday, and this year has gone by so fast. But I have to tell you, the new superintendent is coming in. Oh, my goodness. He is absolutely amazing. He is perfect for Hampton City Schools. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the years to come. So I want to say thank you to my husband, Wayne, my son, Matthew. And I believe my daughter Mary's watching via the web. She's in Chicago. But thank you, family, for all of your support. And then thank you, Hampton family, because you have been amazing. And I will always be watching and supporting you. Thank you.
and that does conclude our recognitions, but I do want to say a public thank you to Dr. Shiflett's family for sharing her with us. We know it's been a tremendous drain away from the family, and I know you all will enjoy your time with her as she retires. And we may get her to come back and visit with us some and do a little thing or so. I don't know, but thank you all very much for being with us tonight. And so we move on to the real business of the night, which begins with our consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of Personnel Report 15-12, item number 4.02, minutes of the school board meeting of May 6, 2015. Item 4.03, minutes of the special school board meeting of May 13th, 2015. Item 4.04, minutes of the school board meeting of May 20, 2015. The certification of the closed session of May 6th, 2015. Item 4.06, the certification of the closed session of May 13th, 2015. And item 4.07, the certification of the closed session of May 20, 2015. Is there a motion?
Move for approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Pearson and seconded by Mr. Kilgore that we approve tonight's consent agenda. Ms. Bowers, is there any discussion? Ms. Bowers, will you call the vote?
Miss Henry?
Aye.
Mr. Kilgore?
Aye.
Mr. Pearson?
Aye.
Mr. Samuels?
Aye.
Miss Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Harper?
Aye.
Miss Mugler?
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to superintendent and staff reports, I'll turn things over to Dr. Shiflett.
Thank you, Ms. Mugler. Our first report this evening is an update on our Title III application, and I'll call Dr. John Caggiano and Miss Debbie Summers.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Pearson, members of the board, Dr. Shiflett. A couple of weeks ago, we mentioned that the federal government had made some changes to guidance regarding federal entitlement grants, particularly Title III. And so Ms. Debbie Summers with us this evening to present for your review the Title III Part A grant for the 2015-16 school year. Ms. Summers is our curriculum leader for foreign language.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the school board, Dr. Shiflett, members of the district leadership team. It is my pleasure to present to you this evening the overview of the Title III grant for 2015-16. The purpose of Title III Part A is to ensure that English language learners attain English language proficiency and meet the same challenging academic content and achievement standards that other students are expected to meet. At the present time, we have 228 students receiving services. Of those, 151 attend Langley Elementary School, 32 attend Lindsay Middle School, and 45 attend Hampton High School. We also have 107 opted-out students that attend 26 other schools in the district. Exiting students this year, we have 55 Level 6 Year 1 students and 64 Level 6 Year 2 students. In the fall of last year, we received very good news about our annual measurable accountability objectives. You can see that of the 5 categories, we exceeded expectations on 4 and met expectations on the 5th. We were very pleased with this result because everyone in the state was very concerned about meeting the federal graduation index, and we met that for the first time last year. It's the first time that we were held accountable for it, and we met it. So we were very proud of that. The AMAO update, the targets for proficiency and progress will be determined soon and sent to the USED for approval. The grant award for 2015-16 is $39,811, and it is in this amount is reflected at a reallocation of $67.95. These priorities reflect the changes that Dr. Caggiano had mentioned. January 7th, we received notice from the Department of Justice and the Department of Education that required that we do different things with these 4 objectives. The first one and the most impactful for us is the translation piece. Title III mandatory notifications must be sent out in the language of the parents. We have 36 languages in Hampton. Opted out students, we must ensure that these students are successful even though they do not receive direct services. Professional development for Hampton City Schools staff members. All staff members are to receive professional development regarding ESL. The last one, parent outreach, to assist parents to become active participants in the education of their children. The expenditures for the 2015-16 grant, To continue our success with educating our ELLs, we will continue with the tutors at the secondary centers. We will strive very hard to attain the other 31 translators that we need. We currently translate all of our documents in 5 languages: Spanish, Arabic, Vietnamese, Nepali, and Chinese. Those 5 languages represent 76.2% of our ESL population. The other 23.8% is represented by the other 31 languages. The difficult thing about the translation piece is that the translators now must be certified and bonded. Many of our translators are not. So that will be a challenge for us. The State Department does recognize that this is a challenge for its districts, and it is looking into resources to help us with documents. So we're very hopeful they come up with something. The part-time coach, we have maintained that in the grant. Our coach goes out to work with the teachers of all the opted-out students in the district to help them with strategies and to explain how the testing works and what the results mean so the teachers can better serve those students. I think that has had an impact on the success of our opted-out students in the last 2 years. Teacher attendance in state and national conferences. This ensures that our instructional staff have the latest strategies and methodologies to better serve the students that they teach. And lastly, parent outreach programs. We've always had parent outreach programs, but now they're going to be more focused to help the parents better participate in the education of their children. And that concludes the report.
Thank you. Are there questions from board members? Mrs. Henry?
I have a couple, Ms. Summers.
Yes.
The proficiency that's measured in that proficiency chart, is that relative to a language fluency proficiency, or is that based on proficiency in their other schoolwork?
It is based on their language proficiency.
So that's strictly, this is a novice, fluent, and so on?
Yes.
Level. Okay. So lots of students function all right with their schoolwork without reaching that language fluency proficiency level.
Many of our students function very well in levels 4 to 4.9, which is our next to the exiting level, but they cannot perform the functions they need to in the really critical thinking skill areas.
Okay. So the exited out students, that's when we deem that they have met the proficiency level, and sometimes the students and their parents opt out prior to our determining that they've reached that proficiency level.
That is correct.
And so about 1/4 of the students are opted out. Are they mostly younger or mostly older students?
Right now, they're younger.
Okay.
And the reason many of them have opted out is because the parents don't have access to their children, and they feel that they need them closer to home because they can't get to them if something were to happen to them.
Okay.
And I can understand that as a
Right.
parent.
And those are the students we have to make every effort to
Yes.
serve, even though that's their decision to
Yes.
not receive the other services.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments from board members? I think you're good. Thank you. Dr. Shiflett?
We do have an announcement to make tonight, and I'll call on Dr. Johnson to make that announcement.
Thank you, Dr. Shiflett. This is a perfect time to get this introduction in before the next report. Ms. Mugler, Mr. Pearson, members of the board, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce to you the Director of Information Literacy, Mr. Paul Lawrence, if you would please stand. Mr. Lawrence is completing his 5th year as an assistant principal at Kecoughtan High School, where among his many duties, he is responsible for technology training and implementation. Previously, he served as a technology curriculum integration specialist in Newport News, where he was responsible for managing the distribution and implementation of new technology, as well as providing professional development for faculty. Additionally, he also taught at the high school level for 11 years. Mr. Lawrence has a bachelor's degree in English and secondary education from Norfolk State University, and a master's degree in educational leadership and administration from the George Washington University. He is currently working on a doctorate in curriculum leadership at the College of William and Mary. Joining him this evening is his lovely wife, his children, his parents, and his Kickitan family. Please stand. Please stand. Please join me again in welcoming Mr. Lawrence to his new position as he settles in and listens to the next board report.
Congratulations, Mr. Lawrence. Dr. Shiflett?
I am very excited about the next board report, and congratulations, Mr. Lawrence. We are delighted about your new position. Our next report is an update on our one-to-one initiative, and I'll call on Dr. John Caggiano.
Good evening again. The purpose of tonight's presentation is twofold. First, we wanted to share an opportunity with the board. We have, as you know, approximately 600 teachers participating in the one-to-one program. And Ms. Sarah Mura, a teacher at Davis Middle School, is joining us tonight for a hands-on demonstration and also to share a little bit about how she is transforming teaching and learning in her classroom as a result of the implementation of the one-to-one program. And then the second part of the presentation, let me go ahead and pull it up. For the second part of the presentation, Mr. Eagle, our Director of Technology, will be talking a little bit about the one-to-one business plan and the infrastructure update. And as you all are aware, last Friday in Dr. Shiflett's weekly memo, we provided some feedback in reference to stakeholder comments year to date. Stakeholders as far as students, staff, and administrators and parents. And at the end of this presentation, we'd be happy to entertain any questions, comments related to the presentation, in addition to the stakeholder feedback at this time. And at this time, I'll turn the microphone over to Ms. Sarah Mura.
Good evening. I'm here to talk to you about my personal experience that how the iPad has impacted student learning in my classroom. One major thing that has really just been an eye-opener is the immediate feedback. Every day, my students will do an assessment on interactive achievement or Socrative for immediate feedback. Every day after the warm-up or the exit ticket, I show this on the board. I don't even have to go over anything. They'll turn around and you could see in number 5, they'll say, Ms. Mira, what happened with number 5? We need to go over that. Or they will turn around and say, why did we all pick the same wrong answer for this one? I don't even drive it. They tell me what to do. So that visibility piece of the immediate feedback, it really plays a role into, okay, why do we have to keep learning this, Ms. Mira? They see it. It's evidence right in front of them. One of the main apps I use to run my classroom is Schoology. I can do anything on there from assigning them instructional videos if they need more assistance to making my own assessments for them to complete. And the biggest piece that has really been an eye-opener is the communication. Some of the students are embarrassed to raise their hand and ask a question. Right there, a student just messaged me and said, on the first question of the worksheet, I add the exponents, right? She was embarrassed. She didn't want to come up. She messaged me from right across the classroom. If it's something they really need more assistance with, I'll go over to them and it looks like I went to ask them a question instead of them asking me a question. In Schoology also, it allows you to line your questions up with the Virginia standards, and you could put different types of questions in there. I actually sometimes pull the questions from IA, Interactive Achievement, and put them on there. It allows you to lower the rigor if you are just beginning to introduce the topic. And I'm going to take a second right now to show you how engaging the iPads really can be. If you'd like to take a moment to play a game with me, one of my students will be passing you an iPad.
Oh, this is going to show up on the screen, isn't it?
Some of us are definitely going to model that student who needs extra help.
I'm supposed to end it. Phoebe.
We gotta do it.
Do we need to enter? How do we get a keyboard? Okay. There we go.
That's not fair. I'm the only one to put my name in.
Okay, and you can hit start now. There's 9 iPads. I believe they're all up there. Oh, we got one more? Okay.
You're in.
Yep, hit start now.
What are we thinking? Oh,
4 times 14.
Oh, okay.
it's time. I'm in trouble.
Okay. We're a little slow.
Keep clapping for the board.
Okay, and one of the cool things about this, and you might have seen on your iPad, it gives you little motivations that say, oh, you got 2 more points to catch up to Linda, or you're 2 behind Allie, and it gives them motivation as you go on. Are we ready for the next question?
Yeah.
And when that happens, one really cool thing about this program is I can go back and show you the image and talk about why we got this wrong.
That's cool.
And I can kind of teach with the program. It's at my pace or the student's pace. There we go.
Feel so smart. And on my multiplication table.
All right, we'll do 2 more.
Yay.
All right, last question. And just like a lot of the other programs, while the students may have viewed this as a game, this still collects the data. I'll pull up and I'll say each child's name, which ones they got wrong, which problems maybe I should go back to, so it, again, gets in that data piece. I don't know if you want to go back to my presentation.
All right.
Any questions?
Who won?
Bruin, Inspect Bruin.
Oh, that was fun.
That was fun.
Can I keep this?
You want to come do it all over again, Malcolm?
And one of the biggest pieces about the iPad we were discussing is the reason why it works in my classroom is because I use it every day. It's consistency. The students don't forget their username and password because they log in every day. They don't forget the expectations because I hold them to it every day. So consistency has been the key in this process. Any questions?
Okay. Thank you. Questions from board members? Any questions?
Thank you.
I think you've wowed us with this cool information.
Okay, good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. John Eagle, I'm Director of Information Technology. My job basically is to make it for teachers just like Sarah and all the other teachers and students to have a system that's reliable, that's fast, that's easy to use. I mean, that's really it. It's what it's all about, to make it rock solid as we move forward. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the business plan and the infrastructure projects that we have going on during the summer based upon some of the feedback that we received during our first year. In our first year, there's been a lot of activity going on. So we added 8,000 iPads to our existing 15,000 device inventory. So we have 22,000 electronic devices in our inventory currently. Our work order counts have gone up about 15%, which is about to be expected. And we do have a 1 gig connection to the internet, and we're seeing where that, again, we're starting to reach the max capacity on that as we've added just so many devices to the network. So our deployment schedule hasn't changed since we last talked to you. We're going to continue with grades 5 through 8 this fall. We're going to add 2 high schools, and that's Phoebus and Hampton. Again, that's based upon the state's subsidy with the backpack, the e-backpack. But we are going to be expanding. We already have classroom sets at Kecoughtan and Bethel, so we're going to be expanding those. So all the schools are going to have some version of iPads, but again, grades 5 through 8 and Phoebus and Hampton, we're going to be doing the full one-to-one take-home program. Next year, school year 2016-17, we're going to do the 2 remaining high schools, so literally 5 through 12, everybody's going to have a device to take home at that point. So some of the processes, some of the learning experiences. So one of the biggest headaches that we had this year was the whole Apple ID thing, especially for children under 14, because by federal law, they can't get their own Apple ID. It's a sort of a consumer account, if you will. And so parents had to get engaged with us and involved with us in the creation of that account, and they had to manage the password. If the password was forgot, we had to work with the parent to get it restored. And Apple came back to us a few months ago with their tail between their legs and said, we really messed up on this. We really underestimated what it was going to be like for school divisions, and we're not alone in this. It was really a lot of work, and it was very, very hard for us to manage the whole Apple ID process. You don't experience those kinds of things in the high school because, again, you're dealing with students that can get their own Apple IDs according to federal law. So we're doing away with that. Apple said we've come up with a whole new plan, and they've actually are sending a lot of boots on the ground and additional resources to us at no charge during the summer to help us to basically get this program cleaned up. Some of the things that we're looking at, for example, is students won't have to go to the App Store. In fact, they won't be going to the App Store at all. One of the things that we heard from students and parents and teachers alike was that students with access to the App Store, they just couldn't resist downloading every single game that was in the universe, and there are a lot of games in the universe. So we're going to be cutting that back and restricting access. And we are going to be removing iMessenger. We had already done that this year at the request of the principals, FaceTime as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to push down sort of a core set of apps. So the apps that we have identified and vetted as being the apps that we want every student to have, we're just going to push down so they'll automatically appear on all the iPads. And there's also going to be, it's not on the slide, but there's also going to be a kiosk of other apps that teachers can request for their specific classroom. So they could say, hey, I need you to have this app for this assignment. So they can go to the store and or it's actually the kiosk that they would download. We're going to continue to give them access to Google Apps and Gmail and web browsing, et cetera. Of course, that's all filtered. And just one of the processes we're going through right now is the whole end-of-year collection, getting the iPads back, getting them wiped, and doing the paperwork and understanding, exactly, where we have issues with equipment that maybe is not in the best of condition and so forth. And again, we're getting a lot of support from Apple with more to come. They actually have a new education package they're going to be coming out with, but unfortunately, they've told us it's not going to be ready until the fall. Well, we can't wait until they're ready to do that. So again, they have said they have this intermediate solution they're going to work with us on over the summertime. Insurance, I know there's been a lot of interest in insurance. The current model is working as planned. I mean, it is self-funded. It's a self-funding model, and it seems to be working as far as the numbers are running, but we really won't have the full knowledge of how all that works until after the last day of school. We have a full inventory and accounting of all the devices in the system. But we are going to be improving the forms and information packets over the summer. So again, in the fall, parents will have a much improved package. We're looking at establishing caps on damages because sometimes kids would break it and they would break it again and maybe even break it a third time. And if they had insurance, they felt like that should be covered indefinitely. And that's just not the way the real world works. So we're looking at if you have insurance the first time, yeah, it's covered. Second time, maybe there's a deductible. Third time, the deductible goes up and so forth. But we are also working on an application process where parents can fill out an application to request that the fee be waived, or maybe they get some kind of discount because they have several children in the program or what have you. And again, just looking at the economic situation of our community, trying to work with them to allow for that. So as far as the infrastructure goes, we are looking at over 430 wireless access points being added in middle schools. We have additional access points in elementary schools. Again, that's just building on the wireless infrastructure to make it as solid as we can make it. We have new switches and controllers, and all of that, it's about $500,000 worth of investment, and that's being funded primarily through a E-rate subsidy that we applied for and were approved through the federal government. We're also doubling our internet connection. Again, that's also being subsidized through the E-rate program, as well as our metropolitan area network. Well, we're also looking at improving our support system. The most important thing in this program, without a doubt, is professional development. We've heard that over and over again from teachers and from our research looking at other communities. Again, can't stress enough, this is not about the technology per se, it's not about the device. This is where the rubber hits the road. And so, again, I'm so glad Mr. Lawrence is on board, because this is definitely his area of expertise. And making sure that teachers and administrators have all the training necessary for the program to be successful. We're looking at a lead model where teachers who are very tech savvy can go back and train others at their school. One of the things that we learned from meeting with the PTA and through the survey and other things is parents would also like to have training sessions so they can look and see, what is my child doing on the device? And so we're working on that. We're looking at redesign our tech support just to try to squeeze every bit of efficiency that we can out of our existing infrastructure, because we're doing this with existing resources with very little added to that. And so again, we just want to make sure we're absolutely as effective and efficient as we can be. And along with that, expanding the student-operated help centers. We're continuing to explore some of our other options as well. Again, it's not about the device so much. There is some evidence to suggest that, especially in middle school or in high schools, in the higher grade levels, that it's really better to have a keyboard. I think you experienced that a little bit yourself tonight. So we're looking at Chromebooks, which are laptops. There's also, again, continuing to look at what are the best apps out there with the most academic bang for the buck. Tools to help teachers integrate the technology and to manage the students as they're working on projects with the technology. And again, discovering and investigating personalized learning tools. And we were continuing to do all kinds of research. Mooresville, actually, we sent a team of people down there in the spring. They've been doing this for over 5 years, and they were so popular with it. Their CIO had actually written a book. You had to get on a waiting list, and Dr. Leary had put us on a waiting list way back when we first started on this, and we finally came up this past spring. So we sent a group of people down there and learned a lot. Now they actually give all their students MacBook Airs, starting in the 3rd grade, full-blown laptops. And we also visited Frederick County, who was not as far as long, but again, they're using Chromebooks, so it was very interesting to see how they used a different technology to do the same kinds of things in personalized learning. And that's really it. Are there any questions we can answer?
Thank you, Mr. Eagle. Questions or comments from board members?
I have one question.
Mr. Harper?
Maybe due to my lack of knowledge, but you mentioned the fact that the principal's asked to have the iMessenger and the FaceTime apps removed.
Yes, sir.
Is there a reason for that? Were they being, were those sites being abused?
The complaint was that it was distracting. Students were given an opportunity to turn off iMessenger before they went into class, and if they forgot, it could be just dinging constantly. And there's another issue where you may have experienced this yourself. Somebody can create a text thread and put your name on it, and so they text you and all these other people, and then somebody else replies. You're getting every single one of those text messages, and you personally have no way of taking your name off. And it's just the nature of iMessenger and those apps. So that was basically what was going on.
Thank you.
Ms. Smith?
I always love to have questions for you. The Phoebus and Hampton High Schools, it's going to be grades 9 through 12, the whole
Yes, ma'am.
gamut? All right. And is professional development already started for some of those teachers? I know that's going to be a big task. Or
Actually, the Hampton and Phoebus teachers are receiving their iPads this week. And so they get a little bit of an introduction. And the idea is they go home for a few weeks and can just play with them. And then there's several training sessions planned throughout the summer. We start, I think, June 23rd and 24th, and there's sessions in July. There's sessions in August as well. So yeah, we have several professional development
is
classes.
it more challenging at the high school just because there's so many courses and how they integrate into all that different subject matter versus middle school? Is it?
I don't know in a sense of course material. If I don't know if Jennifer or anybody else wants to comment on that, but as far as the course material goes, I'm not sure. I couldn't speak to that. Johnson.
At the secondary level, because teachers are discipline specific, each curriculum leader has worked to identify the resources that integrate with that specific discipline. And I think actually it's a lot easier at the secondary level because if you're a mathematics teacher, you're not worried about any integration of applications for history or for English. Your focus is going to be on your discipline. So the discipline-specific integration really is the responsibility of the curriculum leaders to, one, identify best practice, not to limit teachers, but to identify those resources. And as you know, as we integrated or adopted new textbooks, we've adopted texts that also have ancillary technology embedded resources that teachers can use in their classrooms and students can use outside of the classroom. So secondary, from an instructional standpoint and training standpoint, should be easier because it can be parsed out to each of the departments. Elementary teachers who teach everything then also have to begin to know and understand how to integrate and use a variety of resources.
Okay, great. So our teachers will have the full professional development and they'll have the curriculum leaders helping them from the other side. So that'll be great. And I was wondering, at Kecoughtan, you had started that class for students to learn how to fix computers. It was a win-win type of thing. You got help fixing stuff and they learned and got class credit. Are you thinking of putting that in the other high schools to help with any of the tech support or anything?
That actually came up today during our work team meeting, and fortunately having Paul Lawrence as a part of the team now, and he spoke about that experience at Kecoughtan.
Oh, great.
And based on the course schedule, it would be a little bit too late, I think, with Dr. Woods getting that on there for the coming year, but I think if we were to work on that in September was Paul's guidance, that we would be able to get it up and running. But he figured out a way, a workaround already through You're welcome to come forward, Mr. Lawrence. Through a mentorship piece
right,
where
yeah.
technically, even though it's not in the course selection and working with teachers who would be willing to work in that capacity, that we could technically do that in each of the 4 high schools next year.
That's a great way to start getting it
Right.
introduced. Wonderful.
And
Ms.
Ms. Smith, back to
there may come a time when we might look at this as a career academy focus too. So as we
Perfect.
continue the implementation of the career academy concept, that I think that
Yeah.
would be a great area to go into.
Yeah, they can be learning and fixing all our stuff at the same time.
Ms.
I
Smith,
love it.
back to the PD piece. We were headed one direction as a work team with the PD for this summer. Mr. Lawrence came in and talked about his experience and with the Power School implementation, how powerful that was with bringing in a large group of teachers per school to train.
Oh,
And
great.
so we've expanded that train-the-trainer model this summer for high schools, particularly Phoebus High and Hampton High. And so back to the multiple discipline question, I think up to 10 teachers per school will be trained. And then with work week back prior to the start of the school year, those teachers then will be responsible for delivering the PD at each of the high schools.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I have 2 more questions. I'm just going to keep going. The survey results I saw, I'm curious, like by school, if you might look at it and desegregate it, looking at like the schools that got very good, for example, parents and students really responded well to the rollout. And because I know different schools rolled them out differently, and comparing that to how they rolled it out and the survey results that got the best, response from parents and such. So I'm hoping maybe we can learn from that a little bit. I'm glad you did that survey. That's wonderful to get all that feedback. And last, I just got to say I'm very, very excited because I visited all the schools this year and saw all this in use, and it's just incredible the things that are happening in the classrooms. And some of these teachers have just gone way beyond, they're way up there. They're doing awesome things. And so I'm looking forward to seeing it like spread out more. Now that the logistics is figured out and you got your infrastructure, I'm really excited to see it take off this year. So thank you so much. It's really great.
And with the survey, with the feedback, just so you all know, we had 40 teachers who volunteered to serve in a focus group capacity and over 140 parents. And so what we're doing is we're summarizing the memo you all received last Friday. That's going out via email to all of our 600 teachers and also approximately 6,000 families who are currently participating in the one-to-one. So we look forward to the face-to-face focus groups throughout the summer as well.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Other comments or questions from board members?
Malcolm, you can go first.
Malcolm.
Okay. Why is all this happening as I graduate? No, really. But also, I've seen my little brother Jay with his iPad, and he's doing his homework, and he's having so much fun, and he's really using those resources that you guys have made available for him to use, and I think it's really great. So yeah. Okay. Thanks for that.
Thanks, Malcolm. Mr.
I
Samuels?
have a question for Dr. Casiano and Dr. Cooper, being the research guru. And I'm just thinking forward, and I just want to know, will there be a correlation study between students that are in the 6th grade who did not have the technology last year versus students that have the technology this year in regards to their academic performance?
I know we don't have those numbers yet, but that certainly would make an interesting research study.
It would.
And I think, another component of that would be for feedback from principals and user. I mean,
Yes.
we saw a high-level exemplar tonight with Ms. Amura as a user. And if we were to look at the performance of those students particularly, and maybe, I don't know what you call that type of study, but taking a look at where we knew the technology was prevalent, perhaps, weekly, daily basis, versus where it wasn't as integrated as much for comfort levels or a variety of reasons, but certainly a lot of potential from a research standpoint.
So, Dr. Cooper, how long will that take you to get done?
I'll start on it now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from board members for our one-to-one? Okay. Thank you all very much for the report.
Thank you.
Thank you. As you know, earlier this year, we opened up our Health and Wellness Center to our employees who are under our health insurance plan. At that time, we were thinking that we wouldn't open our pharmacy until sometime later. I am delighted to report that we have indeed gotten to the point where we are going to be offering the pharmacy, and it should be opening within the next couple of weeks. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Scott and Ms. Ruth.
And we're not the winners, we're not the Bruins.
We are the employee pharmacy.
There you go. All right, well, it's coming up. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board and Dr. Shiflett. We are so excited to be here to talk about this pharmacy. We've been working on it now for quite some time, at least in concept, but we really got going with it in the last few months, and it has steamrolled into the point that we are now. So we're excited to tell you where we are. Just a little bit of background. The pharmacy is being added to complement the Wellness Center and to provide a lower cost prescription alternative to our benefit eligible employees. And the eligible employees are all full-time and job share employees who are covered by HCS medical insurance. They are eligible to use the pharmacy to fill prescriptions. It also includes their covered dependents of all ages. So whereas the Wellness Center has a limit of 6 and up on the dependents, the pharmacy does not have an age limit. And then all employees, regardless of whether they're covered under a medical insurance, are eligible to purchase over-the-counter products in the pharmacy. And even the over-the-counter products will be sold at a cost lower than what you can typically get at Walmart. So there's a savings there even for the employees who aren't eligible to use it for prescriptions. So what are some of the advantages of our pharmacy? Well, they are many, we hope. There are lower co-pays than through either the HMO, PPO, or CDHP. There's a lower cost of the prescriptions themselves because we are buying them directly from the wholesalers. The over-the-counter items are also being bought at wholesale, so we can, again, turn around and sell them less expensively. 90-day prescriptions can be filled in the pharmacy rather than through the mail order company, as long as you have an actual script for 90 days. And we can coordinate wellness programs between the pharmacy and the wellness center. And we have hired a pharmacist, and of course we have our folks at the wellness center, and we think that they are going to make a fabulous team and be able to work well together. So what do the co-pays look like? Well, under our current insurance, the co-pays for Tier 1 drugs after a $100 employee only or $200 family deductible. Tier 1 drugs are $10 a piece copay, Tier 2 $30 a piece, and Tier 3 $50 a piece. But under our HCS pharmacy, if you take your prescription there, first of all, there's no deductible, so that saves you $100 to $200 right off the bat. And then Tier 1 drugs will be $2 or less. And I say or less because some drugs at the cost that we can sell them won't even cost $2. So you don't have to pay any more than the drug actually costs, and a maximum of $2 for Tier 1. At Tier 2, that's $15 or half of what our medical insurance is. And at Tier 3, $25, again, half of what our medical insurance is. So we think that's very exciting. Specifics, the anticipated opening is, and where's that drum roll when you need it? The week of June the 15th. So we are really excited. That's right around the corner. The hours of the pharmacy, and if you look at the hours of our wellness center, you will notice that these are all a half hour later, the opening and the closing. Monday and Wednesday, 7:30 to 5:30. Tuesday and Thursday, 8:30 to 6:30. Friday and Saturday, which is the same thing we do at the wellness center, those half days, 8:30 to 12:30, and the pharmacy's closed from 1:30 to 2:30 for lunch. We tried to stagger it with the hours of the wellness center with the idea that, for instance, if you have a 7 o'clock appointment on Monday at the wellness center and you get through with your appointment and you have a prescription, then the pharmacy is open by the time you get there. And on the flip side, at the end of the day, if you've got one of the last appointments at the wellness center, that you still have time to get to the pharmacy and get your prescription filled. However, that's not the only way that you can use the pharmacy. You can also bring in prescriptions from your own doctor or have them called in from your doctor, just like they would to your local Rite Aid, CVS, Walgreens, or anybody else. So there are lots of ways to take advantage of the pharmacy. Now, the location, everybody knows where our wellness center is. If you are facing the building that has the wellness center, you know that you go right in the front door to get to the wellness center. Well, to get to the pharmacy, facing the building, you go down the left-hand side of the building, and there's a ramp or a stairway back there that leads you into a back door. When you go in that door, the pharmacy is immediately to your left. There will be signage back there, although for security reasons, there's not a lot of blazing signage. But there is a sign back there, and there's parking on the side of the building, so you can park around that side of the building to go into the pharmacy. And just to show you a little bit about what it looks like, there was a fairly large area back there, and this is what it looked like before well, actually, it looked even worse than that before we got started, because it had sort of mauve pink carpet and this funky looking wallpaper, and it had a few more walls in there. Yeah. It was pretty ugly. But this is sort of early in the process. We'd gotten rid of the carpet and the wallpaper and taken down some walls and sort of had in mind what we were going to do with it. And then this is what it looked like after our maintenance folks, who, by the way, we have an awesome group who tackled this project. Tom and his group, as usual, were stellar in attacking this project and getting it done very quickly. But this is what it looked like afterwards, before On-Site RX came in with all of the furnishings and equipment. And so if you hang on, we're going to give you a little video that shows you very quickly what occurred over a couple of days in mid-May to finish getting that, flash, okay, this worked fine on my computer.
Just say okay.
Okay.
Just say okay?
I think.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I was wrong.
Okay. Oh, you have to see the video. It's not?
It's not going to work? All right.
Oh, that's a really neat video. Yeah.
We'll try to send you the link in the Friday memo.
Okay. Yeah, it's a very fascinating video. It shows you in time lapse very quickly a crew of people from On-Site RX erecting all of the cabinets and files and you see them scurrying around like little ants, putting this up in about 1 minute and 45 seconds. You know, what took them 2 or 3 days to do. So it's a very cute little video that On-Site RX put together, and I thought we'd be able to show it, but obviously not. But we will send it in the weekly memo so that you can take a look at it. And with that, are there any questions about our pharmacy?
Thank you for the report. Board members, any questions or comments? Okay, well, we are looking forward to the savings that we know this is going to produce for our employees.
Absolutely.
And ultimately
And for
the
the
division.
division.
So
Yeah.
it's very exciting. I know that we modeled this after Chesapeake.
Well, we are using the same vendor that Chesapeake is using, and we have been over and looked at their pharmacies, and of course, On-Site RX. We like their philosophy, and we have the wellness philosophy. So we are very excited about being able to offer this benefit to our employees.
And we will be the first school system in Virginia with both a wellness center and a pharmacy. So, yeah.
Any comments or questions from board members? Okay, thank you all so much for the report. That is very exciting, and we'll try and mark our calendars for the 15th. It was the 15th, right? June 15th?
The week of June 15th.
The week of.
Yeah,
okay.
the pharmacist and her staff will begin stocking shelves on the 15th, and then we'll have what's called a soft opening. The pharmacy will start sending some prescriptions to them. We've got some other folks who will send some prescriptions to them, and once we make sure all of their computer systems are up and working, then we already have a postcard prepared that we'll be sending out to all of our full-time employees to let them know that the center is open.
Great. All right, thank you so much. Dr. Shiflett?
And we'll roll it into the next report about our payroll cycle changes. And as you know, our employees have been asking us for some time to change to a semi-monthly pay plan. So, Ms. Ruth, you taking?
I am. Susie,
We were talking
Miss Scott
earlier.
and I thought we would stretch ourselves. Benefits normally falls under human resources, and normally you'd hear me talking about changes to benefits. And logically, you would normally hear Miss Scott talking about payroll. For some reason, we ended up flipping, so we just thought we'd stretch ourselves on these two particular
switching it up.
presentations. As Dr. Shiflett indicated, we are going to be moving to a semi-monthly payroll. And what we're going to be covering tonight, why are we making this change? Because it is a very significant change for both the folks who work in payroll and all of the folks that we pay. What the change means to employees, we've got a sample of what a monthly paycheck versus a semi-monthly paycheck looks like. We do have an extensive communications plan in place and growing, and then also an opportunity for any questions you all might have. So why are we changing the payroll cycle? For years, we have had employees who have asked that we pay more frequently than once a month. It has been cost prohibitive with our Oracle system. In the fall, when we made the determination that we would be changing our enterprise-wide system, both so payroll, HR, finance, purchasing, the whole enchilada, we're changing. It became practical for us to go out and again survey our employees to see if the interest was still there in changing from a monthly payroll. We had overwhelming results. 75%, actually a little bit more than 75% of our employees did want to see us go to twice a month pay. And so we're making this payroll change to honor feedback from our employees. Also, we want to minimize the practice of paying our employees in advance. And I'm going to show you an example of what paying in advance looks like in a minute. In terms of what the change means to our employees, it will be effective July 1st, 2016. That is the same date that we are going live with the majority of our new systems in terms of HR, payroll, and finances. Ms. Scott and I did a report a couple of school board meetings ago to give you an update on that process. So the change to payroll cycles will coincide with the change to our enterprise-wide system. The impact will vary for individuals, employees, based on what their work schedule is and what their employment status is. So in other words, what the change looks like for 180-day employees versus 200-day employees versus 249-day employees will look different. It will also look different for our full-time versus our part-time, and I'll go into that in a little bit more detail. Our paydays will be changing. Right now, we get paid on the 20th of each month. Effective July 1, 2016, our paydays will be on the 15th and the last work day of the month. Sometimes the last work day is the 30th or the 31st. Sometimes the last work day might be the 28th, 27th, just depends on how things fall. And our pay periods will also end on the 15th and the last work day of the month. Effective July 1, 2016, we'll be paying folks 2 weeks in arrears. So for instance, and if you want to flip to the next screen.
Okay.
All right. This shows you right now if I'm a teacher, I receive 10 paychecks per school year. Each paycheck covers 20 work days, regardless of how many I work. And the first paycheck that teachers will receive this year will be on September 20th. So you can see in that chart, while the pay period is from August 5th to September 4th, as a teacher, I will only have worked 7 days during that pay period. But on September 20th, I'm going to get a paycheck for 20 days. So we have essentially paid our teaching staff for 13 days in advance. Or 13 days in advance. With semi-monthly pay, as a teacher, I'd be getting 20 paychecks. And each paycheck will cover 10 work days. The first paycheck that I receive in September of 2016 will be on September 15th. That pay period is going to be for August 16th through August 31st. I will have worked 6 days during that pay period. I'm going to get paid still for 10, but this time I'll only have been paid for 4 days in advance. So again, we're trying to minimize that pay in advance. And then on the last working day of the month, and I believe the 30th is during the week in the September of 2016, I will actually have worked all 10 of those days, so there won't be any advance pay.
13 versus 4.
Yeah, so that's how we say we are trying to minimize the advance pay. We will never, unless we were to completely pay our employees in arrears, in other words, it would be a 30-day lag time, which we don't want to do. We can never get away completely from paying in advance, but we are working to minimize it. Some of the other changes that this means for employees, this system will be more automated than our current system, and so it is going to require greater attention to detail for our employees moving forward than they have right now. We've got a lot of manual processes that take place in the payroll department, and those manual processes will be automated and the responsibility of employees and or timekeepers and administrators. So we will have lots of training and information sessions for folks to help walk them through their increased responsibilities as we get closer to the new pay system. The benefits for moving to semi-monthly pay, again, employees are paid more frequently in response to the survey that we did this past fall. With the pay system that we've selected, it will allow employees to maintain level pay over winter break and spring break. Because we are going to continue with a minimum amount of pay in advance, full-time employees will not see a dip in their paycheck after winter break and spring break, because we will still continue with some of the pay in advance. It is significantly reduced, and it provides payroll with 2 full weeks to prepare the payroll run. And this will help us to minimize, occasionally when we get last minute notice that an employee has left, let's say that teacher A wins the lottery and moves to Aruba, and they have left 2 or 3 days before payday. Sometimes they get overpaid, but because we've got the 2 full weeks, we'll be able to minimize that and the loss of funds to the school system. So it will help us to be more fiscally responsible. Some current concerns that we have, and this to me, the top one is, it is my #1 concern. 180-day employees will not receive their first paycheck for the 16-17 school year until September 30th, and it is going to be half of what they're used to. So if they're used to getting paid $1,000, they're going to see a paycheck on September 30th for $500. And we are putting some communication plans in place to try and minimize that. We're going to be doing some one-on-one meetings. We're going to meet with the folks in transportation and sit down with them to talk about these changes and talk about what they need to do to be prepared for the changes. My biggest concern, though, is folks that just don't hear the message and then will find themselves surprised in September of 2016. So we're doing our best to over-communicate and make sure that doesn't happen. So again, the fact that the first paycheck will be half of what folks are used to could be a surprise for some of our folks. And also, employees may be required to modify their automated bank drafts to accommodate the new pay schedule. Not all of our employees use automated pay drafts. I know I do, and 90% of my bills get paid on the 20th of every month. And so, I'm going to have to sit down and calculate out, ooh, are you okay? I'm going to have to sit down and calculate out which bills come out of my check on the 15th and which bills come out of my check on the last day of the month, so that I don't find myself short We do want to show you what a sample paycheck would look like for folks. And again, our goal is to ensure that total net pay stays consistent for any given month. The sample that we've used is a 12-month employee with an annual income of $24,000. For tax purposes, in this example, they're single, their withholding exemption is 1, and there are no other deductions or withholdings. This is not what anybody's real pay would look like by the time we get to September 2016, but it's just for illustrative purposes. So you'll see that my monthly gross was $2,000 with, and you go through all the withholdings, and my monthly net was around $1,500. Once we get to semi-monthly pay, I will see 2 $1,000 paychecks, and each of those checks will be for $793.14, which is, when you add the two of them together, the net pay will be within a penny. And that was important for us to make sure that folks' monthly net pay remained the same. As far as our communication plan, our plan is to communicate early and often. As I said, our biggest fear is that folks will say, well, in September of 2016, well, I hadn't heard anything about going to semi-monthly pay. I have just nightmares over that. So we will be over-communicating. There will be email updates distributed throughout the year. We're working with Ms. Galata to put information on the website. We haven't uploaded anything yet, but we will be. This particular presentation will be the first piece of that. We will have customized examples and pay schedules for each different pay schedule group. So we will have customized communication for teachers. We will have customized communication for our 180-day employees to include bus drivers and IAs. We'll have separate communication for 12-month employees. We'll have communication that will be customized between exempt employees, non-exempt employees, full-time, part-time. We're slicing and dicing it as many ways as we need to, because we pay folks a lot of different ways, so that they can understand exactly what this is going to mean to them. We will be holding, for lack of a better term, town hall meetings with each of these different employee groups, and with some, just generic groups as a whole, to walk them through the changes and give employees a chance to ask questions. And then we'll be holding one-on-one conferences as needed. Another thing that we may be adding is some actual classes in budgeting and finance to help folks with their individual budgets and figuring out how they need to distribute their bills now that we're moving to semi-monthly pay. Okay, and with that, any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Henry?
I always think of the brand new teacher. If we do pre-service, a good deal of pre-service for new teachers a whole extra week. And we used to do something like be sure and pay them for that before, apart from their paycheck. At least one year we paid them for the pre-service week in their hot little hand when they were getting started. If they're doing an early pre-service, is it possible that new teachers would be getting a September 15th paycheck that might have something in it other than waiting till September 30th?
Well, all of our teachers are on 200-day contracts, and they will receive a paycheck on September 15th.
Okay.
The
so
pre-service,
it will be a normal.
The pre-service days for new teachers. Remember that our teachers are paid for 200 days. They are scheduled for 193. So the pre-service days for new teachers are already covered under that 200 days pay that they receive. So there is not additional money, but they will get a full 10-day paycheck on September 15th, assuming that they work all of the days they're scheduled to work.
Right. Yeah, I'm thinking 180, I was thinking the teacher scale. So that
Correct.
is not the teacher scale. So teachers will get a September 15th paycheck.
They will. And it will vary year by year. It just depends on when school starts. But by and large, our 180-day employees, which would be our bus drivers, our well, not all of some of our food service workers, not all of them, instructional assistants, some of our SSOs, our EIRAs, our early intervention reading assistants, those are our 180-day employees. So they're the ones that will not get a paycheck until September 30th.
So all this year, we need to do a how to save and budget so that we
Yes,
have
ma'am.
more than paycheck to paycheck money in our checking account before next year comes along and our paycheck is not going to be there the way we always thought it was.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry. Is that it? Other questions from board members or comments? Okay, thank you very much for the
Thank
report.
you.
And this is well in advance of when it's going to be implemented, and so it is good to have a heads up and know what your plan is. And I think ultimately employees will be very happy with the changeover. Dr. Shiflett?
And our final report tonight is our monthly business operations and financial update by Susie Scott.
All right, good evening again, and this is the final report. I'm here to present to you the results of operations as of April the 30th, 2015. At that point, been a long night. At that point, our total revenues were $162,983,816. Our expenditures and encumbrances were $159,408,198. This is on track for this point in the year. A little above last year and based on a budgeted ADM of 20,000 students. As we've previously reported, our March ADM final count was 19,881, or 119 fewer students than we budgeted for FY15. This will result in a loss of revenue of approximately $628,000, including any changes that were made in the governor's caboose bill in December. We do anticipate covering the shortfall with attrition. Also, as we noted for the first time last month, the budget reflects the addition of the $729,442 that was approved by City Council as carryover of FY14 funds to help cover the cost of our Oracle replacement, our new enterprise resource planning system that we were just talking about. And the total budget does reflect that addition. And then finally, the new thing for this month is that we have added a report of the transfers that we've made to or from Category 9. This is the change that the board approved as part of Policy DA, I believe it was, on April the 1st. And so you will note that the tabs, there are several pages, and they reflect transfers into or out of Category 9 for the month of April. Some of the transfers are a little larger than normal. In the last quarter of the year, April, May, and June, what you typically see is departments, number one, spending down their budgets, purchasing for summer school or summer programs or activities that are going on, or in many cases, purchasing items in preparation for the beginning of the next year. In some cases, you will also note that purchases are literally budgeted items that they have just changed from a physical type category to an electronic or digital version. An example is there was, I believe it was $6,000 in Category 1 that was moved to Category 9 to purchase ebooks, library books. It literally was budgeted in Category 1 as real books, but they ended up purchasing ebooks, a long list of ebooks. And because technology is the first thing we need to reflect according to the state's system, we categorize that as technology. And so you will see this on a monthly basis. We will make a couple of refinements going forward based on some conversations that I've had. We are going to add a column with the department name so that you can see the department name, and a key so that you know what the categories are, just in case you don't have them committed to memory. And if there are any other suggestions for change, this is a new thing, new format, so anything that you would like to see added or, that would help make it more clear, we'd be happy to change. And are there any questions?
Questions from board members for Ms. Scott? Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much for your report. Dr. Shiflett?
That concludes our reports.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to the hearing of any delegations or presentation of any written communications or petitions. I have one speaker who has signed up for tonight, Ms. Gayleen Knoyton.
Good evening, Madam Chair, school board members, Dr. Shiflett. My name is Gayleen Knoyton. I'm the president of the NAACP. I would like to congratulate you on choosing a successor to Dr. Shiflett. Although we are disappointed there was no community input in the selection process and no citizens in the room during the process, we understand that the two former superintendents gave the nod. We will welcome Dr. Smith and look forward to meeting with him, and we hope and pray that he will duplicate his efforts that he did in West Point with his 3 schools, 768 students, to the same that he will do with our 20,000 students in 31 schools in Hampton Public Schools. We know that good things can come in small packages. So we look forward to working with him and with the new deputy superintendent as well with that. I also want to invite everyone, the community, and everyone to come out to our Hampton Branch NAACP second annual Celebrating Fathers and Role Models event that will be Sunday, June 7th from 2 to 6 p.m. at the Hampton YMCA. Ann Bain has been wonderful representing Hampton City Schools to be a part of this. We want to thank her for that. We have so many community partners with this. Anton Bell, the Commonwealth Attorney, is chairing the event, and we have the Hampton Police Department that will cook and they will serve the food and help with the games. There's going to be for fathers, children, mothers, the whole family. We want everyone to come out. We'll have a symposium from 2 to 3, which will be best practices in parenting and how to interact with law enforcement. We'll do role playing as well and have basketball and games and 3-legged races. And we're supposed to rain, and we prayed, and there's no rain, and it's going to be 82 degrees. So we're real excited. We want everyone to come out, and the police department is going to buy double food. So we want to thank him for that. Lastly, my son Michael York will graduate from Hampton High School with high honors in the IB diploma program next week, and then attend the University of Richmond. I cannot begin to thank the IB teachers and staff for their good work. Also, Mrs. Harding and Mr. Davis for their leadership at Hampton High School. My son enjoyed going to school every single day. And as a parent, it is our responsibility to be involved and challenge our children, as well as we challenge our school board members, our administrations, and our teachers. We have to hold them accountable as well as everyone else. I am proud to say that my son is a product of public education. And good luck to you, Dr. Shiflett. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Knoyton. We move on to items for action, beginning with item 7.01, easements needed at Forest Elementary for the Todd's Lane, Big Bethel Road intersection project. We had deliberation on this item at our work session in mid-May. Are there any questions additionally on this action item from board members? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Come on, guys. Okay. It's been moved by Mr. Harper and seconded by Ms. Henry that we approve the item 7.01, easements needed at Forest Elementary School for Todd's Lane, Big Bethel Road intersection. Is there any discussion? There being none, Ms. Bowers, will you call the vote?
Mr. Kilgore?
Aye.
Mr. Pearson?
Aye.
Mr. Samuels?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Harper?
Aye.
Ms. Henry?
Aye.
Ms. Mugler?
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to item 7.02, we've got lots of action tonight. Request for waiver of the verified credit requirements for the standard diploma or advanced studies diploma.
Madam Chair, I move approval of action item 7.02.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Kilgore and seconded by Ms. Henry that we approve the request for waiver of verified credit requirements for standard or advanced studies diploma. Is there any discussion? There being none, Ms. Bowers, will you call the vote?
Mr. Pearson?
Aye.
Mr. Samuels?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Harper?
Aye.
Ms. Henry?
Aye.
Mr. Kilgore?
Aye.
Ms. Mugler?
Aye, motion carries. Item 7.03, Title I and Title II applications. We deliberated those items at our May 20th work session. Are there any questions additionally on this item? Is there a motion?
Move for approval. Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Pearson and seconded by Mr. Kilgore that we approve Title I and Title II applications. Is there any discussion? There being none, Ms. Bowers, will you call the vote?
Mr. Samuels?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Harper?
Aye.
Ms. Henry?
Aye.
Mr. Kilgore?
Aye.
Mr. Pearson?
Aye.
Ms. Mugler?
Aye, motion carries. We move on to item 7.04, Virginia School Board Association legislative positions. We had discussion of this item at our May 20th meeting. I know Ms. Smith presented that to us. Were there any changes or anything additional you needed to
No, I
add?
didn't hear of any changes, so they're just as discussed at the last meeting.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Harper and seconded by Mr. Pearson that we approve the VSBA legislative positions. Is there any discussion? There being none, Ms. Bowers, will you call the vote?
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Harper?
Aye.
Ms. Henry?
Aye.
Mr. Kilgore?
Aye.
Mr. Pearson?
Aye.
Mr. Samuels?
Aye.
Ms. Mugler?
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to item 7.05, updated revision of student fee schedule for FY16 for policy JN. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I move approval of action item 7.05.
Second.
It's been moved, they're rushing to it now. It's been moved by Mr. Kilgore and seconded by Ms. Henry that we approve the updated revision of the student fee schedule for FY16 for policy JN. Is there any discussion? There being none, Ms. Bowers, will you call the vote?
Mr. Harper?
Aye.
Ms. Henry?
Aye.
Mr. Kilgore?
Aye.
Mr. Pearson?
Aye.
Mr. Samuels?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Ms. Mugler?
Aye, the motion carries. Item 7.06 is a motion with regard to the approval of a new superintendent designee that will serve in the absence or inability of the superintendent to attend meetings or perform daily duties as superintendent. There is a recommendation. Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Madam Chairman, I have a motion, and it's got some other information if you
Yes,
might
ma'am.
need it. I think this is my turn here. Okay. This is at its organizational meeting in July of 2014. Pursuant to School Board Policy BCA, the school board designated Dr. Patricia Johnson to serve as the superintendent's designee in her absence. Due to Dr. Johnson's retirement, effective June 30, a new designee is needed until the board has its organizational meeting for next year on July 15th, 2015. So accordingly, at the recommendation of the superintendent, I move that we appoint, as per that recommendation, Dr. John Caggiano as the superintendent's designee to serve in her absence or inability to attend the meetings or to perform daily duties as superintendent until July 15th, 2015.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Henry and seconded by Mr. Kilgore that we approve the superintendent's recommendation for a designee to serve in the absence or inability of the superintendent to attend meetings or perform daily duties. Is there any discussion? There being none, Ms. Bowers, will you call the vote?
Ms. Henry,
Aye.
Mr. Kilgore,
Aye.
Mr. Pearson,
Aye.
Mr. Samuels,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Harper,
Aye.
Ms. Mugler.
Aye, motion carries. We have 3 additional action items, all surrounding revisions to variety of school board policy. Is there a motion to approve those in block?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve action item 7.07 through 7.09 as a block. Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Kilgore and seconded by Mr. Pearson that we approve the policy revisions tonight as a block. Is there any discussion? I'll just add that these are items 7.01, which is the revision of school board policy BBE, the unexpired term fulfillment. 7.08 is the revision of school board policies BBFA and GBACB, conflicts of interest and disclosure of economic interests, which were formerly conflict of interest policies, as well as the revision of school board policy BDA, board meetings. Ms. Bowers, will you call the vote?
Mr. Kilgore,
Aye.
Mr. Pearson,
Aye.
Mr. Samuels,
Aye.
Ms. Smith,
Aye.
Mr. Harper,
Aye.
Ms. Henry,
Aye.
Ms. Mugler.
Aye, motion carries. We move on from action to our deliberation segment of the agenda, beginning with item 8.01, Title III application. We had a presentation regarding this earlier. Are there any additional questions or deliberation on the Title III application? All right, we'll move on to item 8.02, which has to do with the termination of declaration of covenants for Burbank Elementary School. Are there any questions or comments, additional deliberation from board members regarding this item? Did we get?
Madam Chair, I
Thank
believe
you.
you got the information from the memorandum that I wrote to the board back in 2013 for Burbank Elementary School. Because of the Clean Water Act and the stormwater runoff, that had to be entered into for a project that was proposed by the city for Burbank. That project ultimately was not undertaken, so we're now going to terminate that declaration so that a new project can be proposed by the city, and they will be bringing that to you shortly.
Are there any questions from board members regarding the termination of this covenant? Okay, there being none, we'll move on to item 8.03, which is an MOU between the school board and the city of Hampton to allow the school board property to be used for community garden space.
Madam Chair, if it please the chair and the board, Mr. Wilson is here from the city to tell the board about some use that is being made of the property that was the old Buckrow Junior High School property.
Okay. Good evening, Mr. Wilson. How are you?
Good evening, Ms. Mugler, Mr. Pearson, members of the school board. Dr. Shiflett, congratulations on your accomplishments during our careers working together.
Thank you.
And Nancy Reeves. I'm here tonight to kind of backtrack a little bit. For over 40 years, our department has been responsible for the grounds of Hampton City Schools, the playgrounds, the athletic fields, and had some oversight. And I'm asking you to consider a memorandum of understanding between Hampton School Board and the City of Hampton to use the old Buckrow Junior High School site on Buckrow Avenue for community gardens use. So we understand that if this property is ever used in the future for future development, the fence will come down and obviously the gardens will move. I've provided each of you with a packet to tell you a little bit about the community gardens program that we have in Hampton. We currently are looking at using this site on Buckrow Avenue. We have a site in Phoebus. Our Clean City Commission just received a $20,000 grant, and we're looking at doing one in the Wythe area of Hampton. We've worked with Hampton City Schools for a number of years, and we currently have garden sites at Armstrong, Asbury, Barron, Jane Bryant, Curie, and Spratley schools. At this site here on Buckrow Avenue, the area that is fenced off is 90 by 100-foot garden area, has 34 gardens. We have raised handicap beds to accommodate handicap that were built by the Boy Scouts. The garden plots are approximately 4 foot by 10 foot long. And we have water spouts at the corner locations so the citizens can have water for their gardens. We have 4-foot access walkways between there. We have 5-foot wide accesses between the garden plots, and it has a 6-foot aluminum fence and lockable gates. We do emphasize that this property is owned by Hampton City Schools, and we have a coordinator, and at any time that you need to use this for another site, for another use or sell it, we'll be more than happy to move to another location. We just ask you for your consideration for a memorandum of agreement so we can continue this project to serve the citizens of Hampton.
Are there any questions from board members? There being none, then this item will move forward to our action agenda for next meeting of this board in the middle of June. Thank you very much, Mr. Wilson, for that additional clarification on the project. We move on to item 8.04, a new lease agreement for the school's bus parking lot on Aluminum Drive with Shrum Investors. Ms. Reeves?
Yes, the school board has in the past had a 5-year lease agreement to park its school buses at the Aluminum Drive location, which expired, I believe, in August of 2014. We've been going month to month, and this is a lease that would take us through another year, understanding that at some juncture the school division may be making other arrangements, so we're not agreeing to a long 5-year or 3-year lease at this point, but just another 1-year lease. So that's what is being proposed.
Are there questions for Ms. Reeves regarding the lease? All right, there being none, we'll move this item on to our action agenda at our next meeting. Item 8.05 is the revision of School Board Policy CBA, Qualifications and Duties of the Superintendent. We had discussion and presentation of first read on this item at our May 20th meeting. Are there any additional questions or deliberation on this revision? If there are none, we'll move on to item 8.06, the revision of School Board Policy CBB, appointment and term of the superintendent. Again, we had deliberation first read on this item previously. Are there additional questions or deliberation from board members? Mrs. Smith?
Yeah, I know at the last meeting at first read, Ms. Henry had brought up the wording in that one sentence about the expiration of the initial term is eligible to hold office, and that it doesn't really allow for later terms. Is that something you'd work through, or?
Ms. Reeves pointed out that it's just like the code, and so with things that are mostly badly written, they are from the code, and we're not going to mess with the wording.
Okay. All right, just wanted to understand that.
Thank you. Any other deliberation on this item? So we will keep the language in keeping with what is stated in code. Item 8.07 is the revision of School Board Policy CLA, reporting acts of violence or substance abuse. This item was presented to us at our earlier meeting. Are there any other deliberative questions from board members? Mrs. Smith?
I just had one question. In the body of this policy, it references a whole lot of legal code, yet they're not in the legal reference list on the policy itself. But if you sort of jump ahead to the item 809, the policy about relations with police authorities, that one actually does pull them all out and list them all. So I'm thinking we should be consistent. We should either be listing all of them referenced or not, or letting it just be in the body and not listing it. I don't care either way, honestly. I just think we should be consistent one way or the other.
Ms. Reeves, can we add that to the references?
Is not a problem. Okay. We have been, I believe that was something that Kilgore had asked for at some point. I believe if my memory serves me, that we have been adding them consistently to our references. So that certainly can be added, no problem.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Any other items for deliberation on this particular policy revision? We'll move on to item 8.08, the revision of School Board Policy KK, visitors to the schools. Again, this was presented to us at our prior meeting. Are there any questions or additional questions, deliberation on this policy change? Not, we'll move on to 8.09, the revision of School Board Policy KNAJ, relations with police authorities. Any questions or additional deliberation on this policy? Okay. Our final deliberative item is the revision of School Board Policy GCBDGE, vacation leave. Presented to us at our May 20th meeting. Any questions, comments, or deliberation from board members? Okay, very good. There being none, that completes our deliberation. We will round out the evening with our deliberation first read. We do have 5 policies in this area, beginning with the revision of School Board Policy DG, which has to do with the custody and disbursement of school funds. And so I know, Ms. Scott, that you will address that for us. Oh, okay.
The custody and disbursement of school funds, policy DG, are just minor updates and language revisions based on VSBA updates and an update of the legal references. Any
Okay.
questions?
Since you have, any questions? Okay, very good. Since you have all 5, I'll just let you go straight through them.
I'll just keep rolling.
Okay.
The next one is policy FB, facilities planning. This one adds a cross-reference and some language changes to reflect the actual division practice regarding CIP planning and reporting. And adds a cross-reference to the comprehensive plan AF.
Any questions? Okay.
All right, the next one is policy FEG, construction planning. We deleted the first 3 paragraphs. We felt like it was just too detailed for a policy and was perhaps limiting in what we could do, and it is not part of the VSBA policy. There are also some minor language changes in accordance with VSBA, and we added a cross-reference to FEA, educational facilities specifications. And all of our construction planning, if it's a physical alteration to the building, such as our breezeways or a new building, the plans go through DOE for approval anyway, and the superintendent.
Any questions for clarification? All right.
All right, FFA is the naming of new facilities. In VSBA, FFA is actually or FF is what ours was, which is actually a different policy in VSBA. So we are making it FFA, which is the naming of new facilities, in order to align with the VSBA policy. And then just some new language from the February update.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on this revision proposal?
All right, and I believe last but not least is JC, school attendance zones. We did add some language based on the VSBA policy, but we also added some to mirror our out-of-zone application to make sure that it was consistent.
Any questions for clarification on that final policy on school zoning? Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Scott.
You're welcome.
We finish out our business tonight with our informational items. The next regular meeting of this school board will be held on June 17th at 6:30 p.m. at the Rupert Sargent Building at 1 Franklin Street. Dr. Shiflett, any additional informational items?
Just a couple of things. This is always a very, very busy time of the year, but first I want to say again, congratulations to our Teachers of the Year. Great job, and congratulations, Ms. Jackson. Well-deserved honor. Our Hampton Education Foundation is going to be meeting tomorrow at noon. We will also have a conference call with the Ford NGL folks tomorrow at 2 to talk about our next steps, and I'll be sure to let you know how that goes. On Saturday, June 6th, there'll be the Community Resource Fair at Eaton from 11 to 2 p.m. And on Tuesday, June 8th, this is another one of the high points of the year, is our PLC graduation ceremony over at the campus at Lee at 10 a.m. On the same day, the Tarrant Community Day will take place beginning at 2:15. And I just want to say again, I'm stunned by, you are really good at keeping secrets. And thank you so much for the work that went into the recognition tonight. I am humbled and honored, and thank all of you.
Thank you, Dr. Shiflett. Are there informational items from other board members? Malcolm? Yes, sir.
At the next school board meeting, I will be graduated. I won't even be in high school anymore.
And are you telling us we have no leverage anymore, Malcolm?
What'd you say?
Are you telling us we have no leverage for the next meeting?
Don't tempt me.
I don't think we've ever had a liaison with perfect attendance.
No.
I don't think we have.
I know. You've been very, very diligent and dependable, and we have very much enjoyed having you serve along with us. And we know that VCU is going to embrace you, and you are going to do great things in Richmond, and we look forward to hearing all about them.
Thank you.
We really do.
Ms. Mockler,
yes.
I believe we have one of our cohort classes here this evening.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, we don't usually have food before the meeting and celebrations.
And we don't usually have that sugary punch that just gets us all wired up before we start things. So
Don't always cry.
we don't always cry, but I often cry. So thank you all for being with us. I figured it must be a class of some sort that you all have been diehards and stayed till the end. And so we hope this has been an interesting learning experience for you all. Just want to share a couple of things, and one is just that we did recognize Dr. Shiflett tonight, but I do think it is of note the City Council of the City of Hampton recognized Dr. Shiflett last week in their formal meeting with a resolution and recognized her with the Hampton's Distinguished Citizen Medal. And I think it is of note because it's not a small recognition. It's a very distinguished honor. The award was developed in 1964, and there are only a handful of recipients, maybe 25 individuals who have been named Distinguished Citizens of Hampton. So it's quite a compliment, a high compliment to a distinguished citizen and a distinguished career.
Thank you.
So I just want to make sure everybody knows how special she is.
And may I say something?
You may.
First of all, this is a very special board, and I don't know many other superintendents that have had such a cohesive, collaborative school board. And I want to thank each and every one of you for the support over the past 6 years. Also, I can't leave tonight without talking about my rock, and that's Patricia Johnson. Thank you. There are things that can't be done unless you have the right kind of people working with you. And I will never say that my team works for me, because we work together. And Pat, you have been there. Thank you.
And might I add that you wouldn't have your policies and you wouldn't have a lot of what you have but for Dr. Johnson. She's the one who was the guiding force, and she's the one who helped me work through getting them 350 to 400 policies, all up to date. We are known across the state and to the VSBA because of Dr. Johnson for having the best policies in the Common.
Absolutely. And this school board is very proud of that accomplishment and your hard work in that area. And that was actually, I had a little piece of paper here. I wanted to talk about Dr. Johnson tonight because, she is also retiring, and she has 41 years of experience in this division and an incredible, distinguished career. She did leave Hampton for 1 year. I don't know what came over her.
But she got back as fast as she could.
But she got smart, and she came back. She knew where she was really, truly loved and valued, and that was here in Hampton City Schools. And I know that you're going to enjoy your retirement, and I understand you're going to dabble a little bit, but just for those in the public who don't know, Dr. Johnson served as the interim acting superintendent during the period of time when we were preparing to hire Dr. Shiflett. And so she has served in this division in so many capacities as a teacher, a principal, an assistant superintendent, a deputy superintendent, and she knows curriculum inside and out. She knows school law like nobody's business. And so we are 82 years of incredible experience going out the door on June 30th. We're a little nervous, but we'll hang on. But congratulations to both of you for such incredible and distinguished careers, and we are so lucky in Hampton that you served our community and our children. Are there any other informational items?
I just want to remind board members, Monday, June 8th at 4 o'clock, we're doing interviews for our student liaison for next year.
I'll be there.
Bring your white notebooks with you. I gave you tonight. There's a good number of candidates this year, so you need to read up on them before then. Malcolm evidently set a great example because we had 12 people apply from all the 4 high schools.
It's the highest number of applications we've received to date since we started having a liaison, so that's a high compliment to your work, I know, and just raising the awareness on the part of students in Hampton to know that it's a cool thing to do.
It's pretty great.
It's pretty great. Yes, absolutely. Okay, anything additional? Okay, if there's nothing further to come before this board, this meeting is adjourned.